What's going on, my dudes? Chen011 here, and welcome back to another episode in the A to Z series, where we are going through every single champion, yes, every single champion in League of Legends, and giving you a basic or beginner's guide on each of them. In today's episode, we're going to be showing you how to play Jungle Nocturne for beginners. So we're going to be going through all of Nocturne's ability, his runes, his skill order, his build, some strengths and weaknesses of him, his clear in the jungle, and then we'll have some gameplay as well, obviously in the background, have some examples of all of his abilities so you can see what's going on, and just generally giving you a nice introduction to Nocturne if you've never played him before. So if you do enjoy the video, make sure to hit the like button because it helps me out a lot, and if you're not subscribed, hit the subscribe button as well to not miss any more guides. So Nocturne Jungle. Now, I think he's really actually good for beginners. I think he's not too hard to understand. He's quite easy to play mechanically. His build this season, where we go a bit more of a bruiser build, and I'll show you that in a moment, is a bit more forgivable for newer players rather than going full assassin, which is what Nocturne is. He's an assassin, but he can get away with building a bruiser build, which gives you a bit more sustain in fights. That's not to say he can team fight very well. He is still a assassin who wants to 1v1 the enemy jungler and or enemy that's like split apart from their team. So that's why his early to mid game is, I'd say, better, because in the later game people tend to clump up a bit more, making his job a little harder. But you can still find picks with good vision control later on in the game if you're worried about that. But yeah, I think Nocturne is a great start to an assassin jungler if you haven't played one of those before. Now, I will say with Nocturne in general, before we get through his clear, he's a level 6 jungler, and what that means is you need to hit level 6 for him to be useful. So, my opinion, the way to do that is to just power farm. Is to full clear your jungle so you get as much XP as possible. Not worry about ganks level 6 until maybe after your first clear. You can have a look top or mid. If it's a free gank, you can go for it. If not, just reset and go for the full clear. And the full clear is, I'll show it on the screen now, is we go for the red buff into the Krugs, into the chickens, or the Razorbeaks, I think they're really called. Then you want to go Wolves, blue buff, and Gromp. You can take the blue and the Gromp at the same time, but remember, if you're starting out, you don't need to min-max the jungle clearing super well. You just clear the jungle, you'll be fine. And as you can see, Nocturne is a very healthy and fast clearer, so you'll be very fine if you've never played jungle. He smashes all the camps very easily. He's got AoE, he's got good single target damage, so he does everything a jungler wants. Good sustain as well, so you'll be fine. And then what was I going to say? Yeah, just make sure you're clearing the jungle efficiently. Like when you later on in the game, I always try and pick a side and then clear all the way up, or try and make a mental plan. So I'm going to do blue Gromp, then I'm going to gank top or something like that. Wolves, blue Gromp, later on in the game. Don't just be inefficient. You want to try and make your time clearing the jungle efficient, So once you get your full clear under your belt, then you can try and look for the Scuttle Crab. If you're a bit faster, you can get there just as it spawns. If you're slow like me in this example, then you'll get there just after it spawns, and you might have a bit of a fight. But you can see here the enemy jungler is not here yet, or is on the other side of the map, so we get a nice Scuttle Crab as well. You can see he popped the Scrying Orb, so he's on this side of the map and he's coming. He is low health, and I could have probably turned onto him with a flash if I chased him, but let's play it safe. I know he's low health. I can double scuttle him here. So that's where I'm going. I'm going straight to the other Scuttle Crab to get that nice XP advantage so I can get to level 6 quickly, which is what you want to do in Nocturne. Unfortunately, running through the middle of the map gives my position away, but that's fine. It's worth it to get this other Scuttle Crab. Remember to use your E on the Scuttle Crab to fear it, so it knocks off its shield. Then you can smite it if you like. So, while I wanted to go through the abilities while we were clearing, but that's fine. Like the ability order and what you should take. So you can see the enemy team's pushed up. So I have a little bit of a sniff. Maybe we can get a flash on the Lucian. I tried to fear him, but he jumped into the bush. I get the fear off now. We hit him with a Q. He flashes. That's fine. As soon as the fear goes, if you see how much movement speed you get, it's insane. We'll go through all the abilities in a lot of detail in a moment. But yeah, just a little bit of attacks on the bot lane as well while we're there. But yeah, that's essentially what you want to do. Then you're back. A little bit different clear for me because I went for the Scuttle Crab. So not wasted time. It was just a little bit inefficient. But we got double Scuttle, which is really, really good. Unfortunately, with the build I'll show you later, Stride Breaker is your rush item, isn't like in the recommended. because they want you to go full ham on lethality. So it makes buying the items annoying because you got to search it with the search bar or go into the all items to find it. But it is what it is. All right, so let's go through the skill order so you know when you're clearing the jungle what abilities you should take. So level 1, you should take your Q because it gives you the nice damage boost. It gives you obviously an AoE damage ability. Next, you want to take your W, which is your shield. Now, the reason you take this, and we'll go through in detail later, you take your shield at level 2 is because it gives you passive attack speed, which is helpful in the jungle. Then next, you want to take your tether, which is your E. Then you want to max your Q. After that, max your E, max your W last. And then you want to take a point in your ultimate at obviously level 6, 11, and 16, whenever you can. Definitely level 6, of course. If you're new to the game, even if you're new to the game, you should know to always take your ultimate when you can. A point in your ultimate when you can. So, again, the early game on Nocturne can be boring to watch, I guess, because you're just clearing your AFK, clearing the NPC jungle camps, but that's fine. You need to do it to get to level 6. And then once you hit level 6, you can start causing problems. Now, the reason I turned around here is I saw the Maokai on the in my jungle, and then I can see him. He just ran around there, so he's back. He's back in his side of the jungle. So I wanted to make sure cover my bot lane in case they get dove. It looks like Galio's coming down, so we'll have a quick look again. Again, not the greatest strategy to just go spam ganking. I know this is going to work because Galio's coming as well, so it's going to be fine. We're probably going to get a double kill. But you want to make sure you're getting your level 6. And then doing stuff like this will help you get to level 6 as well, but try not to do these when they're too risky. That's beautiful. Nice double stun here. We're going to get 2 assists or maybe even a kill. No, 2 assists. Fantastic. Getting my bot lane nice and strong. And also Galio gets a couple kills or assists. I can't remember. Either way, gold for the team. Fantastic. And we can turn that into an early dragon. Nocturne can clear the dragon quite early as well. One tip I will give you with the W, and I know I haven't gone through the W, but I'll just mention it now. It's a spell shield, essentially. But the dragon's auto attacks count as spells. That's how they're coded. So that'll proc the passive ability when you get your spell shield popped, which gives you attack speed, I believe. We'll go through that in a moment. So make sure you use your shield on the dragon, essentially, is the long and short of that. So let's go through the runes. So the runes on Nocturne, we'll put up on the screen. They're very, very self-explanatory. Lethal tempo. It's just attack speed, which is exactly what you want. The reason why attack speed is good on Nocturne is because of his passive. It gives you that spin damage, which gives you more damage. So attack speed is fantastic. Also with the Bruiser build, you want to be in close and doing auto attacks as well because you're building AD, so it all makes sense. Triumph, takedowns, restore missing health and give you some more gold, which is great. Legend Alacrity, give you more attack speed, that stack, fantastic. Coup de Grace, you deal more damage to champions who have less than 40 health on an assassin, that makes sense. Then you want to go Domination Tree, which is where most of your assassin runes lie, which is why we go here next. Eyeball Collection gives you more attack damage, like after you collect stacks of it, which is fantastic. Ultimate Hunter, because your ultimate is the most important thing on Nocturne. So once you hit level 6, then you become a real champion. You can see me hover my ultimate, because I want to know if I'm in range to use it. And then after that, you want to go an attack speed, little small rune at the bottom there, flex for adaptive force, and then defense armor. And then for the build, we'll go through that now. You can see here, I like to buy a lot of control wards. I like to get my sweeper. You want to control the map as an assassin. Sweepers, you want to deny vision more. Denying vision, in my opinion, is more important than having vision on an assassin. You can see here we just dive onto the Seraphine over the wall with the ulti. Absolutely blow her up. Another free kill for me. We shove the enemy under the tower so we can get a dive going. You can see here, oh, that flash was bronze. That's fine. And we're going to die. Unfortunately, we die, but it's still worth. I think 2 kills for 1 is good. And plus the ADC is going to get free tower gold. I think if we didn't flash like an idiot there, we could have got out maybe. But we took 2 tower shots because the Blitzcrank got blown up there. So it's 2 for 2, right, in the end. So maybe it wasn't worth, but we get the tower gold. But I want to get Snowball. I want to get some gold in me so we can go smash other lanes. It's fine. All right, guys, let's go through the build while we are running back to the jungle. So, again, I mentioned earlier, you can take Ignite over Flash, but Flash is what I take default. But some games I feel like I would have preferred Ignite. Like this game in particular, Ignite probably was going to be better. You want to take Ember Knife as your starting item, as well as your refillable potion. That's pretty much every game on Nocturne. Don't ever change that. can make the argument for the blue knife, but I think Ember knife is better because you're going to be 1v1ing a lot. Iron Spike Whip is your first back item. Now that is a component of Stridebreaker. Also, when you're first back, you want to try and get boots because boots are very, important in the jungle because movement speed is king because you can get to your camps faster, clear faster, get more XP faster, get to lanes faster, etc. Right? So movement speed is important. Stridebreaker is your first your first item. Sorry. Now this gives you a bunch of movement speed as the legend passive, mythic passive. Also, damage dealing to nearby enemies slows them, and then that's the active, so you get that nice whip that slows them, and then dealing physical damage grants movement speed. So this is an item that helps you stick on top of targets, which is what Nocturne wants to do. He wants to stick on top of targets so you can keep auto-attacking him. So you can see here, once we get everything, we can go on top of him and absolutely roast him. See how much movement speed we get there? We can stay on top of him, kite with him, and keep auto-attacking. So we get the Urgot, nice gank. We didn't even use my ultimate that time, and then we can get a nice couple tower plates and then go back into the jungle. Maybe look for a Rift Herald. Back to the items. Death Stance is your next main item you want to be building. Again, nice bruiser item, gives you a lot of AD, gives you a lot of sustain, like a lot of staying power, a lot of survivability. Plated steel caps are your boots of choice. If the enemy's full AP, you can go Merc Treads. Again, Mortal Mormortius. If they have a lot of magic damage, you can go this. If they don't have a lot of magic damage, you can build this item later. And then go straight to your Black Cleaver or your GA if you feel like it. Again, there are other items I've shown in the bottom there. You can get yourself a Sterix Gauge instead of the Mortal Mormortius, or you can go Chempunk, Chain Sword, or maybe even a Blade of the Rune King. It all depends on the game. The first two items are your core, though. You want to make sure you build those. And there's also a full lethality build you can give a go. I just feel this build is a bit more forgivable for newer players of Nocturne. If you want to go lethality build, basically what it means is you blow up enemies much faster, but you have less survivability. You got to make sure you kill them quick or you're going to die yourself. Because Nocturne is very, very squishy. So you can see Galio was having a good game, so I thought let's give him a lot of gold. Let's get the Rift Herald into that mid tower. And also mid tower, in my opinion, is the most important tower in the whole game to get. The first mid tower. Even more than the Nexus towers, in my opinion. Because if you get the mid tower first, you control the map, it usually leads to a win in the game. Alright guys, that's all the stuff I wanted to get through before the main course of Nocturne, which is obviously his abilities. So we're going to start off with Nocturne's passive. We're going to read it, we're going to put it on the screen, we're going to show you an example. This is a beautiful opportunity for an ultimate here. And MF ultimate perfect as well. Absolutely free. I didn't even need to get there, I don't think. I think they would have sorted that out, but I get a couple assists. Fantastic for me. Unfortunately, that ward disappeared. But kill the bot lane, we can get another free dragon. So let's go through the passive, which is called Umbra Blades. Again, we'll show the information on the screen, and for active abilities, we'll show an example at the top left. So periodically, Nocturne empowers his next back attack slash in a circle. You can see it happen on the dragon now. You can see us swing around, dealing bonus physical damage and healing himself, which is fantastic. Against minions, Umbra Blade's the secondary target damage reduced. All of this applies on hit damage as well. So remember, it applies on hit. It also can crit, which is fantastic. And the basic attacks reduce the cooldown of Umbra Blades by 1 second. I think if it's enemy champions, it's 3 seconds, and dragons and Rift Herald or Baron, it's 3 seconds as well. So again, what does this mean? Basically, it's just more damage on your auto attacks. The actual passive, you can see it has a counter at the bottom. At the bottom there, you can have a look. You see it has 5 seconds there. For me, auto attack, it's reducing. And then every single auto attack is reducing the cooldown by multiple seconds. I thought it was 1 second, but watching the counter now, it's actually going down by 3 seconds each auto attack. So that's something I have to look into. But it's not incredibly critical, right? Basically, it means the more attack speed you have, the more auto attacks you're doing, the lower the more often that passive's going off, the more spin damage you're doing for extra damage. All right, so it's nothing you have to do yourself with your hands or your keyboard or whatever. Just auto attacking will proc it. So that's why attack speed is extremely important on Nocturne. That's why we're going with the runes and the build. We're going, it's all attack speed based. See, we're at 1.4 attack speed. We're going to be proccing that very, very often. And we're building all AD, right? So attack speed plus AD, perfect combination. Perfect. All right. Next, we're going to go through Nocturne's Q, which is your first ability to take. It's called Duskbringer. Nocturne casts out a shadow blade in a target direction that leaves a dust trail in its wake, dealing physical damage to enemies hit. Enemy champions will leave a dust trail behind them if you hit them with it for 5 seconds, and it will slowly disappear afterwards. Now, if you're running into the dust trail, so if you are inside this, see that black trail there that we hit, and you can see it's growing, and you can kind of see where they are because it's following them, because we hit the ergot, I think it was. Or was it the Maokai? It was the ergot. So it follows them. So if you're within that black dust, I guess we'll call it, you become ghosted, which means you can run through minions, monsters, champions, and not be hindered. You're not going to wiggle around. You can just go straight through them. You're going to gain bonus attack damage and bonus movement speed. So you've got great chase potential. This is absolute Iron FC here. Look at this. I walk into the tower. I thought the minions were going to be there, and we get caught by the Nocturne, which means we can't really dive anymore because I'm low health, which sucks, but that's fine. But that is what it is. So again, I would have shown an example of what Duskbringer does, but it's a very simple ability. You want to use it. It does damage. It sticks to enemy targets, making them easy to track as well, which is another little bonus to it. Even through Fog of War, we could see where he was walking, right? So it's a very, very useful ability. That's why we take it first. It also just does damage. And while you're standing in it, like you can see now, we're getting bonus damage. So obviously fantastic for clearing the jungle, fantastic for hunting people down. Great ability. That's why it's your first max. Does a bunch of damage. Next, we want to go through the W, which is called Shroud of Darkness. Now, this has a passive and an active component. So we'll go through the passive first. It's very, very simple. Passive, Nocturne gains bonus attack speed. Now, it goes 30, 35%, 40%, 45%, 50%. This is why it's important to start this your W level 2, because you want that just baseline 30% bonus attack speed. Now its bonus attack speed is by percentage, so there's no point rushing it because you're not going to have much attack speed from your items yet. So that's why you level it up last, and you can get better use out of your E by maxing that second anyway. But that bonus attack speed is a nice little bonus. You can see here we go right behind the enemy with this nice ultimate and just absolutely shred them. We can't really dive on Nocturne like that, like go ham, because we're quite squishy. We're a bit of a glass cannon. So we're just going to be patient, wait for the minions. Maybe we can go try again with the Blitzcrank here with a dive. And again, we get absolutely free kill and a tower. Enemy bot lane had no chance. So targeting squishy enemy champions is obviously the way to go. Targeting real tanks is like obviously silly on an assassin. Despite going a bit of a bruiser build, we could probably do it in an extended fight, especially if you took Ignite. However, going for squishies makes it a lot easier. Makes your job easier, so might as well do it. You got to play smarter, not harder. So that was the passive of Shroud of Darkness. Now we're going to show you the active component. So the active component, Nocturne gains a spell shield for 1.5 seconds. Now, spell shield will block every ability in the game. So if the enemy is about to use any important CC or damage ability, you pop your shield. This is the hardest part of Nocturne, getting used to popping your shield at the right time. If you've played Sivir before, it's exactly the same concept. Against like a Blitzcrank, for example, you can block all of his hooks, right? You can just W his hook and it won't hit you. Now, the bonus is, I think on Sivir you get bonus mana, but on Nocturne, upon successful blocking a hostile effect, Shroud of Darkness gives you bonus attack speed. And this is doubled, your attack speed, is doubled for 5 seconds. So, fantastic bonus if you can block an ability. So, I think my W just came off there, so I just missed the Seraphine there. But you can see here, we're trying to take the dragon. I think I don't have smite, so this is really sketchy. And I think I'm going to face tank this whole ultimate. That was a nice flash from the Blitzcrank to face tank that for me. But I'm trying to play this slow. We end up diving onto the Seraphine to get ourselves a kill. Stupid, actually, now that I look at this back. I like to look at the gameplay backwards after to think about what I could have done differently. There's no need to just jump in now. Pretty sure the MF would have got the kill and I wouldn't have died. So that was stupid. But it is what it is. We get a nice KDA. We get a nice flashy 20,000 kill game. That's fine. So what I mentioned earlier is the dragon's auto attacks count as an ability. So if you W right before the dragon auto attack hits you, it'll proc and give you that bonus doubled attack speed. So keep that in mind. It's a bit, if you're a super beginner, you don't need to remember that, but it's nice to know that because it'll help you take dragon a little bit faster. And if you're trying to 1v1 a champion, this is where again Nocturne easy to play, hard to master. because if you know every single ability the enemy can use, like if you just know every champion in the game and you know all their abilities, you know, for example, Swain's E, is it his E? Whichever one is that thing that goes in and out. If you can block that, he loses his CC ability, plus you get all that bonus attack speed, so you can absolutely destroy him. Especially because he's a bit, he doesn't have a lot of dashes, right? So he can't get away from me, he doesn't have any dashes. So keep that in mind. Next, we're going to go through Unspeakable Horror, which is Nocturne's E, or his tether. Has a passive and active component again. You can see here, I'm just trying to do a little bit of picking. We have to flash over the wall, wait for the team. Again, as soon as it becomes a bit of a team fight, Nocturne isn't the greatest. He wants to be going backline, which is why I go for the Seraphine. And we're just kind of trying to survive here. We can just absolutely mow here now with the attack speed. Once you get the attack speed going and you get the healing, you can absolutely shred people. Get the triple kill, fantastic. So Unspeakable Horror has a passive and active component. So now the passive is Nocturne gains 90% movement speed while facing feared enemies. So fantastic. Anytime an enemy is feared, you sprint like Usain Bolt towards them like an absolute animal. Full pelt. The active component, you've seen me use it a few times. Nocturne torments the target, forming a tether between himself and the target for 2 seconds, during which the target takes a tick of magic damage every half second. The magic damage is like kind of irrelevant. It does a little bit of damage, but just remember the main purpose of this is to tether them, as to fear them. If the tether is not broken by the end of the duration, the target is feared for the duration, and they're slowed basically for 90%. On top of that, you have the 90% movement speed towards them, so basically you stun them and you just run straight up to them and murder them. You just go smash them. Super, super fun ability. Again, use it for the Scuttle Crab to knock off its shield. You can see here we take the Baron, so we're cruising through this game. Very, very nice. 9, 2, and 4. Not too bad score. Both deaths were stupid, so we could have been 9 and 0, but that's fine. I guess not 9 and 0 because we wouldn't have picked up a couple kills. But that's okay. Not the perfect game, but it's a decent game to show off Nocturne's strengths. Just basically, the way it works is whenever you get your ultimate, pump it, and go kill someone. Very, very easy. And that is Paranoia. We'll go through that right now. Nocturne's ultimate. Active. Nocturne terrorizes all enemy champions near sighting them for 6 seconds. What does this mean? Basically, it's hard to explain unless you verse the Nocturne. Your whole screen goes dark and you can't really see what the fuck's going on. It's very, very scary. You don't know if you're the one that's dead. Your asshole clinches. Shit, am I dead? But most of the time, they're going after the squishy or the person who's alone. Sometimes they just use it to get into the team fight. This is what I do sometimes. I use my spell shield there to dodge the Maokai ultimate. You can see what I was doing there. Just trying to help the Yasuo, but unfortunately it's not going to work out. So, you near sight everyone for 6 seconds. Everyone's panicking. What the fuck's going on? He can then recast his ultimate. And basically he dashes and he's displacement immune. So you can never be CC'd while you're dashing with your ultimate. So you basically ultimate, everything goes dark, and then you recast your ultimate by clicking R on someone again, and then you start flying towards them, as you've seen in the example and in the gameplay itself. And then when you arrive, you just do a burst of physical damage. You do 400 at max level, you get 150 at the start, 275, and then this scales with 120% bonus AD. So the more AD you have, the more damage this does. So the further on in the game, the more blow-up ability you have. Remember, Nocturne can cast any of his other abilities while flying as well. So a real quick spiel about the ultimate. Very, very simple. Use it off cooldown if you can. I mean, don't just spam it for no reason. Make sure you're using it, responsibly. Make sure you're using it well and efficiently. Otherwise, you just waste it. But it is one of those abilities you want to try and use off cooldown because it's so good. It's what makes Nocturne Nocturne. It is his bread and butter ability, I'd say. It's his Paranoia. It's the most fun part about Nocturne. You just absolutely smash someone. Now, some tips about using it. I like to hover over it with my mouse to see the range because, I mean, learning the range is going to take a few hundred games. It's literally not hard to learn, especially because it's changing. The range goes from 2,500 to 3,200 to 4,000, depending on the level. And also, you need to have vision of them to recast it, right? You can't just pick an enemy on the other side of the map and not have vision of them and teleport them because you can't click on them because you don't know where they are. So you want to make sure you can click on an enemy. So the way that works is having deep wards. That's why you buy your control wards. You see that ward there that was placed. We were able to get on top of the Lucian. Unfortunately, we didn't quite burst him quick enough, which is why the lethality build sometimes is better, but I prefer the bruiser build. So thanks, guys, for watching. If you enjoyed or found this at all helpful, make sure to hit the like button. Hit the subscribe button as well if you want to see more guys of this. And remember to have a great day. Thank you very much, and peace out.